Hello and welcome everyone again into another video. Today's video will talk about the best teams in the Open Great League. Open Great League is among two other leagues that we will have in the next rotation. I think it's all leagues, so you have to pick and choose. But people generally always go for Open Great League for many factors. The most important one is queue time. There is always battles in the Open Great League. No matter what your MMR is, you'll always find battles. So that's why people tend to enjoy Great League. Besides that, people have so many options to play this league. So I've made lots of videos about Open Great League top teams. So today's video, we're just going to go kind of skim, like a fast skim on the Pokemons. I'm not going to explain everything. If you want me to explain this picture, there is literally the video about the top teams in the Open Great League. The previous one, before this one, I explained everything here. But there is a new rising Pokemon in the current meta, which is Shadow Annihilate. Shadow Annihilate is literally going to be everywhere at high MMR. This Pokemon has the capability of punching through everything in the Open Great League meta at high MMR. In fact, it was the highest usage Pokemon at high MMR. We're talking about page 1, page 2, 3 leaderboard. I have a video about Shadow Annihilate coming tomorrow, so make sure to check tomorrow's video as well. But now we're just going to talk about another Pokemon that also exists at high MMR, which is Superior. So why Superior exists? It's because it beat Corsola, it beats Diggersby, it beat Kanto Marowak, it beat Azu. Those Pokemons technically also exist on every team. But the main important thing, like, there is a Pokemon that also exists on every team, which is a Drapion. So as long as you dodge the Drapion, Superior is about to sweep because it wins every neutral matchup. There is no neutral matchup that Superior loses, whether in the 0 or in the 1, which provides more flexibility for the for the Annihilate. Yeah, so what about Primeape? Primeape is a Chad in the low MMR. I don't recommend using Primeape because it's just such a frail Pokemon and it doesn't hit hard from the fast move. It's a charge move dependent Pokemon that doesn't even have stat product. Usually for the charge move dependent Pokemon, you want them to be tanky so they can throw as much charge moves as possible. But with Annihilate, you're only able to throw 2 or 3 charge moves at max. The strongest Pokemon in the current meta is Diggersby. But the problem with Diggersby is that it loses to the meta Pokemons. Like, we have Annihilate, we have Azu, we have the A/Slash matchup, believe it or not, after the Ice Punch buff and people started using the non-shadow, Diggersby now lose to A/Slash. Another Pokemon to be aware of is Malamar. Malamar is technically extremely solid. In fact, it's in the top team in the Open Great League, which we will see in like a couple of seconds. Now let's take a look at PvP Poke ranking. Number 1 Pokemon is Corsola. I think if you guys played against Corsola, you would see you know how hard it is to kill Corsola. It's like an Azu with a better charge move. It's like it has Astonish, the best offensive fast move in the game. It has Nightshade, one of the best charge moves in the game as well. With Power Gem, the best rock charge move as well. That is not expensive. Followed by Clodsire. Clodsire is still the Chad. Like the safest top Pokemon. The problem with it is that there is Corsola and Kanto Marowak and Dugong. Literally, there is 2 of these 3 Pokemons on every team, and you have Annihilate, which does resist poison, the poison fast move. But to be honest, if I had to choose between Annihilate and Clodsire, I would choose Clodsire because it wins the Annihilate matchup. There is Diggersby as well. Like, every Pokemon here just does beat the Clodsire, even though, like, look, Corsola, Mandibuzz, no. Diggersby, Feraligatr, Clodsire, Corviknight, Feraligatr, Gastrodon. All the top 10 Pokemons beat the Clodsire, and Clodsire is still number 2. That just shows you how strong Clodsire of a Pokemon is. Primeape, Morpeko is scary, not gonna lie. You'll see probably through Tactical posting another Morpeko team where he hit 3500 because he's just been spamming Morpeko, to be honest. I mean, Tactical has been enjoying Flyer plus Electric Pokemon since forever. Now it feels like they gave him Morpeko, just, you know, like the Pokemon that he has been looking to, the Pokemon that he wanted all this time along, because he used to use Magnezone, right? So now some anti-meta Pokemons that you need to be aware of is Talonflame. Now someone's like, oh, Talonflame is meta. It's actually off-meta Pokemon because it loses to so many meta-match Pokemon, but people just don't care to counter it, and that's where, like, you get the advantage of using this. I think that's pretty much the only Pokemon I wanted to mention. Now, let's talk about the top performing Pokemons. What is the difference between top PvP Poke rank and top performance? Top performance are like Pokemons that exist at the condensed MMR at high MMR. So at high MMR, these are the only Pokemons you will see. Diggersby and Morpeko are like the highest rating 2 Pokemons, followed by Annihilate, Toxapex, Talonflame, Dugong, Aslash, Corsola, Clotheside. You can see like Clotheside is not the top. Those are the top. Those 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and this is probably the last, because all of these Pokemons do well against Clotheside. Like probably the only Pokemon that doesn't do well is Morpeko. That's it, because Drapion does beat this thing if they shield the EQ or no shield the Stone Edge or the Sludge. So these are like the top performing Pokemons. I always recommend choosing at least 2 Pokemons of this list. You can at minimum go 1, but then you will have some difficult time. So let's move to the top performing teams. What are the difference between top performing teams and top PvP teams? Top performing teams are like the teams that exist at high MMR. And the team that I actually recommended to my students, which is Malamar, Diggersby, and Toxapex. Do you go for Malamar Sidewave bulk point, break point? I don't think so, to be honest, because in the lead you're going to face Kanto Marowak and Talonflame, and for those 2 you actually need it to be tanky a bit. And if you go for an attack weighted one, you might regret that. So just regular stuff. Aslash is difficult for this team because Aslash wins the 2 here, wins the 1 here, and beat this thing in every shield scenario. So as long as they don't have Aslash, you should be in a good situation. Another solid team is like PvP is saying that this is the best Morpeko team. I do not agree. I think that the best Morpeko team is Morpeko with Talonflame and Superior, which is, yeah, this team. This is the strongest Morpeko team that I do believe. If they have a Dunsparce in the lead, you just go this and you just spam Aura Wheel, like literally. And if you if they lead the Clodsire, you have to 2 shield here. If they lead the Drapion, I don't know what you're supposed to do. Not gonna lie, I don't use this team. With this team is probably like weird into Drapion in the lead. Even if they swap and Drapion, still awkward. So I would assume like they swap and Drapion, just go to Aslash and try to get a shield advantage and give it to Morpeko, and Morpeko up a shield will just beat everything. This is another Talonflame team that do exist, which is Talonflame with Annihilate and Toxapex, but to be honest, I see more of Dunsparce than Toxapex with Annihilate. I don't know why. Maybe because of Gator, so they need like to have a Gator answer, like a harder one. But I don't use these teams. In fact, these are my favorite teams. This is the team that I hit legend with last season, not this season, the last one. So if you want to see how do I play this team, you can go. I hit legend in the Open Great League with this team. It's 3 months ago. And currently, just don't use Shadow Aslash, use non-Shadow Aslash. This team is extremely solid, and it is even better this season because you have 2 hard answers to the Diggersby and 1 soft answer. You have 2 answers to the Poison, and you beat... I mean, Dugong is still scuffed, but you have a soft answer, and you have another answer here. And with the Sandslash, if you no shield the Icy Wind, you are cooking. But this season, I've been spamming 1 team, and thanks to Mr. Briggsy making this team, and then I yonked it, which is Corsola with Aslash and Kanto Marowak. So there's like a bunch of versions for this team. You could replace Aslash with Dugong. You could also replace Diggersby with Kanto Marowak. But I preferred my team to be hard-hitting, fast-move Pokemon, because usually, like, I found out that if I use Pokemons that are tanky and then don't do damage, I'm giving my opponent like longer time to come up with ideas on how they're supposed to react. But if I have something that hits hard, they have lesser time. So I have 3 videos about this team, and when I made like a series, I climbed from 2500 to legend in literally a day and a half, like 7 sets, I think, or 8 sets, from 2450 to legend. Another Kanto Marowak team, we have the Cool Kid team. This trainer literally hit legend. And that was, it's not 3 weeks ago. I think it's by the time I made this. He made it to legend, literally from 2600 to legend in 2 days with a single move Kanto Marowak. He literally had only single move. And this Marowak, he has like rank 2000, the Marowak, 1450 CP, this thing, 1450 something, 1456, I think, CP Moltres. So literally the worst possible IVs. So go check this video because he played it extremely well. And as for the Dugong, I know that people think Dugong is a stupid Pokemon. It's actually not. It required like lots of thinking because when I was watching Cool Kid, every time he icy wind, opponent shield. Every time he drill run, opponent no shield, which shows you that there is a skill to use Dugong. Okay, if the opponent shield icy wind, that's the best shield you could get in the game. If the opponent no shield a drill run, that means he was expecting what the opponent will do. So I recommend watching this video just to learn whenever you should bait, whenever you shouldn't be baiting. Just literally for that factor. Now, if you're a Corviknight fan, I do think that Corviknight makes a good call with Diggersby. No, not with Diggersby, with any dark Pokemon. I choose Morpeko here because I'm a Morpeko fan. And as a third, you could use Corsola, but I recommend using Diggersby, to be honest. But this is not the best Corviknight team. I do think that if you want to run Corviknight, you run it with Goodra and a ground Pokemon. The ground Pokemon, you should be using Kanto Marowak, but you could actually just use Diggersby or Corsola, to be honest. If you're a Jumpluff fan, I know that lots of people want to use Jumpluff. Don't use the Shadow, actually. I have it Shadow, but I won't recommend using the Shadow because the non-Shadow can beat Dunsparce in the Zero. Also, the non-Shadow lives 2 Rock Slides from Shadow Kanto Marowak. That's another reason why you should be using non-Shadow Jumpluff. This team, it's a Prime A, but I think it's ABA Grass. So if you see a Dugong lead, just go to Superior, to be honest. Another solid team, Malamar, Dugong, and Talonflame. This team was submitted to the channel, I think, by Conviper. Conviper always come up with some niche Code Breakers teams where, like, he doesn't run hard meta. It's like, someone's like, oh, this is a hard meta team. These aren't hard meta teams. These are like Code Breakers, we call them. What does Code Breaker mean? This Pokemon is capable of beating a very popular core. As an example, Malamar is capable of breaking the core Gastrodon with Corsola. Because, like, it's a popular core, right? Dugong is capable of breaking the core Drapion Azu, as an example. Talonflame is capable of breaking the core with I think it was what was it? I mean, this thing is just need shield advantage. So if you have shield advantage, Talonflame can beat its own counters. But if you don't want to use some skillful teams, you can just go for tap teams, to be honest. Wiggly, Gastro, and Mandy. You could even run Duckspun here instead of Wiggly, and you could even do Kanto Marowak here. You could even do A-Slash here, and you will have a wholesome team. Another solid team, I think I used this team. I call it my next season team. It was actually I made this a slide last season, and I used it this season, and I actually had great success with it. I think when I used the Corsola, I preferred to have Malamar here instead of A-Slash. If you like to see some Bibarel shenanigans, Azu with Bibarel and Corsola make a perfect team. Another Corsola team, I call it no skill, tap, which is Corsola with 2 counters to Feraligatr. If you have a Shadow Diggersby, it makes this team much better. And if you have a Shadow Diggersby, I'm actually looking for battles using Shadow Diggersby. So shoot me a message if you are interested to submit some Shadow Diggersby battles, because I think Shadow Diggersby is probably the most underrated Pokemon. It's one of the best Shadows currently, but people just don't have it. Some team here from Brandoni. I think it's a great team. It's just the 3 meta Pokemons, Malamar with A-Slash and Gator. And I think another solid team here, which is the wholesome underscore. You know, guys don't like the Pokemon Go caster or a streamer or a player or leaderboarder. We call him the wholesome underscore. He used this team, which is A-Slash with Kanto Marowak with the Gastro. You could also use Corsola or Diggersby, and he had such a crazy high win rate with it. So yeah, I tried to keep this team short and straightforward since it's the season is about to end. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed these teams. If you like one of these teams, let me know which one you preferred and which team you used before, just so I can stay aware of what my viewers use. So yeah, thanks so much everyone for watching. I hope you guys enjoy these videos, and if you like the video, make sure to leave a like. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.